Hey folks, Mel the Terrain Tutor back in the studio and back with a bit of a chat or ramble, to be perfectly honest. We've had a few milestones that we've hit this past sort of month. We've completed our High Peak Pass project. That's gone really well. That was a brilliant project and it went really well, down really well. And then on top of that, sort of a bit earlier than I was expecting, I hit 100,000 subscribers. Now on the 100,000 subscribers thing, still haven't got used to it, to be perfectly honest. It's a scary number, but I think above all, the fact that there's 100,000 people in the world who found this little terrain library, that project of mine, useful enough to subscribe to and follow. It's a good sign for homemade wargames terrain. I know you're not all wargames. I know there's some railroaders, some dollhouse people, crafts, diorama people, and I know a bulk of you are wargamers. But overall, it makes an old Mel very happy. You know what I mean? I started this off because I was worried that the skills and the techniques that we used making wargames terrain back in the day, before we had this golden age of terrain kits, from EPVC kits, laser kits, 3D printing, resin, it's coming at us from all different directions. And I was kind of worried that those skills would die out and people wouldn't be interested in them. And you guys have well and truly proved me wrong. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. Now, obviously, as part of the 100,000 subscriber thing, I did a big giveaway. Massive thank you to all the companies who got involved with that. The winner was a young lady called Rachel Lewins, and she follows my videos because she uses it to make scenery with her daughter and their little Sylvania. Is it Sylvania family? The little bunny people? Yeah, she uses it to make trees and woods and hills for her daughter's stuff. Well, her Sylvania family, her daughter's called Sammy. Yeah, I did see some of her work on the Terrainiacs once I actually realised who it was after the draw. And well, little Sammy's Sylvania family has got a massive armoured division attached to it now. She's been posting photos on the Terrainiacs group of her haul turning up. And the boxes are bigger than the kid. But overall, yeah, I'm chuffed. You know what I mean? I'm chuffed with the competition. Obviously, the winner's chosen at random, but I think it's gone to a good person. The dice gods, the gods of random have picked well, and I think we've got a little wargamer who's grown to grow up to be a hell of a Terrainiac, to be perfectly honest, so I'm going to keep an eye on Sammy's work. Right, so that was the 100k. Now I've got a little list down here, so I don't go too far off topic and ramble too much. Yeah, right, projects, what we're working on. Now obviously I know a lot of you are like, Mel, I was expecting Skull Altar. Yes, I know, it's up there, the resin is drying on it. I don't think it'll be finished in time for me to have edited up for Thursday, but you should have it for next Tuesday, guys. Apologies on that. It's half term in the UK, which means the kids are off school. Kerry's had a lot of things going on with work, with doing this construction industry, ecology manager test and course she's had to go off on and that sort of stuff. And so my time in the studio got sort of shrunk down. Plus I went on a bit of a mad spring clean. And you guys regular to the channel will know that I occasionally suffer with the downs, the black dog. And one of the bad times for me is winter when it goes all dark. And I don't like clutter or dirt and that sort of stuff, and the house was getting a bit cluttered, so it's just one of those things that I decided I was just going to blitz the house. Yeah, while Kez was working, I got the kids, so that's all done, looking sweet. Yeah, but it did mean I was a little bit short on time in the studio last week. So the Skull Altar, you should have it for next week, guys. Now on top of that, there is the Burma build still going on. I've still got to get back to our resin stuff. Okay, that we were doing with Ash and we were doing with Fred with the colours and the waves and that sort of stuff. So I really need to schedule some time this month to put a couple of days into that and do another terrain lab and see if we can nail the sub colours. In our last resin Terrain Lab, we nailed the pigment colours to get realistic ocean colours. What I need to do now is figure out the colours that go under the resin to get those beautiful ocean effects. So that's coming as well. Now on top of that, I've got the medieval stuff up there that I've got to finish, put on. I think some of it was started with 2-camera filming. I'm now filming on 4 cameras. I'll sort it. But off the back of the skull altar, there were a few comments that sort of got me. A lot of people saying, I know you're a historical guy. Yeah, and I think, I think just because of the way that the projects we've been working on these past couple of years, anyone new to the channel would definitely get the impression that I'm purely an historical wargamer. When in truth, yeah, my first army was an undead army led by Nagash, yeah, with a vampire backing him up. I then very quickly went into 40k, Space Marines, Tyrannids, Grey Knights, Eldar, and then my final army, Corbania Prime, my Imperial Guard. I ran a blog on that for donkey's ages. You can search for that, Corbania Prime, there's tons of stuff on it. But the last bit of sci-fi stuff I did was actually the first year I started the channel. About 6 months in, I did a Help for Heroes build based on Mantic's Battlezone stuff. And I haven't really done any sci-fi since, over 3 years. So it's easy to understand that people would assume that I'm a historical guy, but I'm actually not. I play all different sorts of war games and that sort of stuff, but it did make me realise that we need to do a bit more non-historical stuff. So, off the back of the skull altar, what I'd like to do is, oh pardon me, and let me know what you think about this. Refinery, some sort of mini-series on putting together like a futuristic refinery. You know, the pipes, the fuel tanks, all that sort of stuff. Standard fare, but, you know, with a Mel take on it. So if you're interested in that for your sort of 40k and your post-apocalyptic stuff and your near future, let me know in the comments, guys. So, that's upcoming projects, what's going on. Skull Altar's coming back, Burma builds ongoing, Resin's ongoing, the medieval one I will get round to finishing it. Yeah, possibly refinery stuff. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about is very recently I've started switching from 3 cameras, because I've got a camera here, I've got a camera up there, and then I've got another camera for me close-ups up there. I've started also filming on my still camera. Now, I've been using this for doing time lapses. So in my recent videos in between the talky bits, you've been having a quick time lapse of me actually doing it. And the response to that has been really good. Yeah, and you know, give me your thoughts down below on that. There's a couple of problems I've had with it, and a few people have commented on it, and apologies for that. Unlike these cameras, yeah, I can actually turn the viewfinder around and see what's the shot in them. It's a bit far off, and I've got monitors for my close-up cam, so I can see that nice and clearly. But this has got the display on the back of it, so when it's fixed here, there's no way I can see what's in the shot. So a couple of times when I've been doing stuff, especially that hill where we did the grass mat, my hand was in the way quite a lot of the time. So I need to figure out how to get a monitor attached to this. So if anyone knows, yeah, I'd be really appreciative of something nice and cheap. A few people have suggested plug it into my laptop. The laptop's dead. Yeah, it don't work, so that's not an option. And even when, even when I get the new kit, I don't want to plug it into a computer or anything like that, because when I'm working I tend to watch Netflix and Amazon and watch sort of like documentaries as I'm working, which is fine for time-lapse because there's no audio on it, so I can get away with it. But I can't watch my Netflix and use the laptop or a computer yet to see what's in this. So if anyone knows of sort of any way of rigging an independent display on it that I could sort of like, you know, just have somewhere there as it was here, so I could just, you know, hands not in the way, that sort of stuff, I'd appreciate that, guys. I did have a problem with it keep switching off as it was doing the time lapses, but I've discovered my memory card isn't fast enough, so I need a faster memory card as well, but I'll sort that. I know what I'm doing in that case. Yeah. So that's the time lapsing. Now, there's 2 other things I'd like to talk about. One very quickly, yeah, which is Fantasy Flight Games. A while ago I did a battle map video and I sort of reached out and sort of asked people, you know, would you like Star Wars Legion or X-Wing terrain? Yeah, me and Corb have got pretty big into these. Yeah, we're still playing first edition X-Wing, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, haven't upgraded yet, because we can still play it as first edition between me and Corb. Legion, we are, let me get the box on properly. So Legion, yeah, we're just getting into this, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we haven't got much more than the starter sets. We bought some extra dice and an extra measuring stick. Whereas for the X-Wing, both of us have got quite a sizable fleet. Well, we've got about 7 or 8 ships each, which is sizable for me. I know there's people who, when they play X-Wing and that sort of stuff, they play massive games, like, you know, 27 TIE Fighters. Mel, hang your head in shame. You're getting old, Boasticle. But yes, so we've been playing those games, and a while ago I put out a video saying, right, I'd like to do, I'd like to do tutorials for Legion and X-Wing and like along those lines. But I'd like to say the Legion and that sort of stuff, you know, and it's for Star Wars. A load of people said just do it generic, and that's an option, but Fantasy Flight heard wind of this and got in touch. So we're still working it out, okay, but basically I think they just need to get approval and that sort of stuff. I'm not quite sure how this IP stuff works, to be perfectly honest. I don't normally mess with it, but they've been in touch. They'd like me to work on their systems, obviously. You know, every gaming company likes me to work on their systems. It's free advertising for them after all, isn't it? And me doing terrain tutorials for their gaming systems helps support their gaming systems. So gaming companies tend to like me. I'm a friend to many and an enemy to none. Because I don't run gaming, you know, I don't sell products. I'm non-competitive to the terrain companies. So like the likes of Foreground, Sarissa, and all those guys like me. I'm quite likeable, to be perfectly honest. But Fantasy Flight seem to like me. They like me, so like me to work on some tutorials and do some terrain stuff with them. So we're seeing how it goes. So for all of you who've asked for Legion and Fantasy Flight stuff, well, it's coming. Yeah, fingers crossed. We are definitely a lot closer than we were a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, because I'm actually in touch with Fantasy Flight and it's something they want to happen. Yeah, so it's looking good. Now, for the final thing, as you know, we have finished High Peak Pass. And High Peak Pass was my opportunity to show a load of different snow techniques. That's what I'm doing, a series of 2x2 builds, high level detail, lots of conversions. The idea being that it's a lot easier for me to show you tutorial techniques on a feature build that's 2x2 rather than a feature build that's 6x4. Okay, so I can show you techniques a lot quicker. Now, we did a load of snow techniques and ice techniques for the High Peak Pass. Now we're on to what's good. Now it's time to move on. And we are going with sci-fi. And as I said, it's been about 3-4 years since we've done sci-fi on the channel. The last time we touched it, it was the Mantic Battlezone box and their Help for Heroes project, where we raised just over £1,000 in a raffle for the build. We're back. Yeah, another 2x2 project. I'm looking at a future sci-fi planet, volcanic planet with some sort of like mineral extraction facility. You know, refinery sort of sci-fi facility on it. And so with that, I hit up the Ronnie. And he sent me a box of goodies. Now, with the actual build, I'm concentrating mainly on lava techniques for it. So I want to nail a load of different lava techniques as tutorials, much like we did with the snow techniques off High Peak Pass. But obviously, much like with High Peak Pass, we also got MDF pre-shading in there. We got the layered hill technique in there. Did we get any other tutorials? I'm not sure. I don't think we did. I think we got 5 in total out of the build. 3 snow ones and 1 hill one, 1 building one. But anyway, good old Ronnie, he sent me a box. Right. First, let me get this lot out. Right, so what we got? Right, all this stuff here This is their standard Battlezone stuff. It's a clip together system. They all come sort of modular. They work on a 3x3 basis, although some of the pieces can be 4.5, some are 6, some are designed to go at slants, but they are modular. And there are tons of panels for making up sci-fi buildings. Now my plan is to build the sci-fi buildings into the mountainside and then have an interior, that you can play as well. So there's the outside and then there's the interior on 2 sides of the build, possibly 3. Haven't quite figured out how it's going to work yet. You know Mel. I'll build half of it while Stell's trying to figure out how I want the other half to look. It's just me in it. Yeah, but there's an absolute ton of stuff here. Now I think this is their basic Militarum base, which is like £100 set, and you can make, I think, about 4x4's worth of terrain out of it. Yeah, I did quite well. I used one of their boxes and I did a load of buildings for Adepticon, did the designs, that the Adepticon terrain teams followed. So we've got all of these, but that's not all. Yeah, Ronnie likes products and Ronnie likes sending me products. So he sent me Terrain Crate Landing Zone. Okay, now the Terrain Crate is their new way of boxing up their battle zones and fantasy stuff. They've got some lovely fantasy stuff. But the Terrain Crate is basically standalone buildings or standalone sets that you can just grab hold of. There's a landing zone here, which obviously sci-fi, lava planet. I'm going to need gantries and platforms on the outside. I did say, send me one and then send me another just in case I need it, and I'll save this, and if I don't need it I won't open it. Still can't believe they still believe that when I say that. Of course I'm going to open it and use it. So 2 landing zones. On top of that, right, industrial stuff next. We've got 2 boxes of their industrial accessories. Now, these are their industrial accessories. It's basically pipes, generators, conveyor belts and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be perfect for the internal gribbly bits. Now, there are some other sort of pipes and gribbly bits and stuff like that already in the main kit. So I've got tons. On top of that, I saved all my extra little gribbly bits and interesting garnish bits from my previous projects with the Battlezone stuff, and they're down in a massive bag down there. So I've got plenty of really interesting bits to make the internal factory and the command centre interesting. So that's where these packs are coming in. Now on top of that, he has sent me, I need those clips, 2 other boxes. And this is from their Star Saga, which is very much their sort of Dungeons and Dragons in space, or as their game is Dungeon Saga. And it's very much a space version set in the Mantic future universe. But what they've got is, they've got starship doors. So this is all the doors that I'm going to need. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 20 doors in this box, which should be ample for me to do the doors going in from the outside to the main complex, and then the internal doors. I'm thinking possibly a stairwell to fight up and down and that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, obviously, I've got the industrial stuff for the gribbly bits of the factory, but we're going to have command rooms. And that's where they've got this one, starship scenery. So if I bring this one up, this is their starship scenery set, and if I flip it round, you can sort of see that they've got control panels and monitors and some sort of VAT thing and computer banks. Basically the perfect thing to dress up all the insides. So whereas on High Peak Pass we had the Frigberg Thought from foreground to build and work off, in our Scar project, that's what I'm calling it, Scar, the planet Scar. In our Scar project, we're going to be using the Battlezone stuff to do the buildings and that sort of stuff, and then obviously I'll be showing you probably some lava techniques, a couple of different lava techniques, pour techniques, painting techniques. I really need to sit down and actually work it out. I know I've wanted to show you lava techniques, but actually thinking about it, I've never actually sit down and actually thought, right, what are the lava tutorials going to be out of this? Yeah, Mel's got some thinking to do. So, yeah, massive thank you to Ronnie to sending these over. If you're wondering about the build, once the build's done, I'll be sending it back to Ronnie as a thank you for sending me the bits and that sort of stuff. So, bit of a trade. And obviously, if you want to see it, Ronnie stands is at Salute and all those. They'll probably have it on the stand at the shows, so you'll be able to see it there. But that's my project for the next 2x2, which, you know, could work rather well. We've got lots going on. It's been a busy year and it's been... Let's wrap this up. Do you know what? This past year's been good. Good on so many different counts. I'm in a better place, me personally, on a lot of different levels. Yeah, a lot of it down to this and you guys. Yeah, stability. You know, I don't want to go too much into it, but you know what I mean. I'm in a better place. The channel is in a better place. We're doing really well subscriber-wise and views-wise. Yeah. But not just that, my filming has got a lot better over this last year. I went back and just a year ago, the difference in the filming I was doing a year ago compared to what I'm doing now, my sound is better, my colours are better, I've got better angles, more cameras. My projects, I've figured out how to do the projects to make the really interesting projects, but do them a lot quicker. Burma build is coming on. Do you know what, guys? I've got to say, it's good. Thank you. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Listen, thanks for your support. Thanks for especially to you guys who make it to the end. If you make it to the end of a channel ramble, then you're definitely one of my supporters. Okay, guys. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you and I'm going to love you and leave you, as I say, because I've got to figure out what lava tutorials I need to get out of this next build, and then I've got to start figuring out what we're building. I've got to finish off the last bits on the skull altar and a whole load more jobs. So I'll leave you with this smiling, happy face. All the best, yeah? Ta-ra.